Hello there, welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I'm Foze Ibrahim. Now the headlines. Zamfara State Social and Child Protection Bill skills second reading. President Muhammadu Buhari battles last-minute crisis, summons governorship and chairmanship aspirants. People's Democratic Party governors pick presidential forms and consult on consensus. On business, capital importation suffers 30% decline, record $6.7 billion. And on the international scene, President Biden visits Ukraine border Friday in show of solidarity. And on sports, Eagles Black Star review 7 to 1 year rivalry in Kumasi. The Zamfara State Social and Child Protection Bill has passed second reading by the State House of Assembly. The two bills skilled second reading during the Assembly plenary on Wednesday. This followed a motion on the two bills moved by the Majority Leader and Deputy Majority Leader of the House, Alhaji Farouk Dosara and Nasiru Bello Lawal, respectively. The bills were a law to provide for the state's social protection and other matters connected therewith 2022, and a bill for a law to provide for the state's child protection and for other matters connected therewith. The State Social Protection Bill is a private member bill sponsored by Deputy Majority Leader of the House, Nasiru Bello Lawal, while the Child Protection Bill is an executive bill. The Speaker, Nasiru Magara, directed the House Committee on Women and Children Affairs to scrutinize the two bills and report back to the House in 1 month. Kano State Deputy Governor Dr. Nasir Yusuf Gawuna has been elected on Thursday as the chairman of Forum of the 36th State Commissioner for Agriculture at his inaugural meeting of community practice held in Chida International Hotel, Abuja. Dr. Gawuna, who has been a Commissioner of Agriculture since 2014, was unanimously elected by the Commissioner of Agriculture in the country to lead their forum due to his commitment and contribution to the development of the sector. While thanking members of the Forum of the COP for reposing their confidence in him, the Deputy Governor assured his continued contribution towards implementing policies and programs initiated by the federal and state government to develop agricultural activities. In attendance during the meeting were the Minister for State of Agriculture and Rural Development, Alhaji Mustafa Badaru Shehuri, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Ernest Emakohi, Commissioner of Agriculture from 36 states and other stakeholders. Chairman of the APC Committee on Media and Publicity of the National Convention, Mr. Sule, said APC will secure consent from aspirants withdrawing from the race, which is in line with the Electoral Act. He said this was because the party was working on consensus candidates for its various elective offices. Newsmen report that Clause 64, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act provides that a political party that adopts on consensus candidates shall secure a written consent from all cleared aspirants of the position. This implies that they must indicate their voluntary withdrawal from the race as well as endorse the consensus candidate. Mr. Sule added that where a political party is unable to secure the written consent of all cleared aspirants for the purpose of a consensus candidate, it shall relent to the choice of direct or indirect primaries. In a bid to save the All Progressive Congress from collapse at the National Convention, which was on Saturday, the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, and Thursday held a series of meetings with governors, party leaders and APC members in the National Assembly. Newsmen learned that some governors and chairmanship aspirants of the APC were still against the imposition of Senator Adamu Abdullahi by the President as of Thursday night. Our correspondent, Rahama Ibrahim, reports.
It was gathered that chairmanship aspirants held long meetings in Abuja over the president's demand and were expected to issue a joint statement. One of the aspirants said they met with the president on Wednesday night and he made it clear that he wanted all those vying for offices to emerge through consensus. In essence, he wants the entire convention to be a mere formality for affirmation. He wants Senator Adamu as the next chairman. He said the president also promised to return the money spent to procure the 20 million naira form, so they are currently holding meetings and they will issue a joint statement. Confirming Buhari's position on Adamu, Governor Abubakar Bello of Niger State, who is a member of the APC Caretaker Committee, said in an interview with newsmen on Thursday that the president had asked the 23 APC governors to ensure that Adamu emerges the chairman at Saturday's convention. However, Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, who is also the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, said he was not aware of Buhari's endorsement of any candidate. Governor Fayemi, while speaking at an event organized by the Center for Democracy and Development on Thursday, said Buhari had the right to appoint a candidate, but added that there was no guarantee that his candidate would win. However, a source in the presidency said Buhari had adopted the micro-zoning formula presented by the governors, and it would therefore be wrong to say the president was imposing people on the party. That's the report. Rahama Ibrahim, SVTV News, Gusau.
Sokoto State Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal and Alhaji Bala Muhammad on Thursday obtained the presidential form of the People's Democratic Party for 40 million naira each. The former Senate President Plus Enyim also obtained the form. However, different support groups purchased the form on behalf of the aspirants. Our correspondent Zainab Abdulwasi reports.
The PDP has generated at least 200 million naira since it had started selling its presidential form last week, as another former Senate President Bukola Saraki and a former Vice President Atiku Abubakar have also obtained the form. It was observed that Senator Anyim remained the only aspirant from the southeast to have obtained the form, while the four others are northerners. Mr. Saraki, while addressing journalists at his Maitama residence in Abuja shortly after a meeting with Governor Tambuwal and Governor Muhammad, said there was great hope for the PDP if it adopted a consensus candidate for the 2023 presidency. According to him, the meeting is part of the continuing consultation with party leaders and stakeholders to adopt consensus over zoning in arriving at a suitable presidential candidate. I am Zainab Abdulwasi reporting for Standard Voice Television News.
Applications are invited from eligible Nigerians for commission into the Nigerian Army as Direct Short Service Commission officers. The DSS is open to both civilian and serving military personnel, and only serving military personnel sponsored to a civil institution by any of the service of the Nigerian Armed Forces shall be considered. Our correspondent Sumaya Dosara reports.
Application should be into any of the following corps and services of the Nigerian Army. For Nigerian Army engineers, applicants must possess a minimum of BSc English, B English second class lower degree or HND lower class in any of the following areas. The areas are land surveyor, electrical electronic engineering, mechanical engineering and structural engineering. Other areas, marine water engineering, architecture and building engineering technology. A statement by the Nigerian Defense Academy said such academic field must be registered with the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria and regulating professional bodies. For the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps, applicants must possess a minimum of BSc, B English, B Tech, B a second class lower degree or HND lower credit in the following areas. They are cyber networking security, programming, network engineering, GIS, GEOINT, data science, crypto-linguistic, data analyst, social media specialist, and digital forensic analysis. In the area of Nigerian Army Medical Corps, applicants must present proof of registration with their professional regulatory bodies and current practical license. Medical consultants of various disciplines. Applicants could belong to field of specialization, such as general surgery, orthopedic surgery, anesthesia, neurosurgery, cardiothorac, ENT surgery, physicians, ophthalmologists, as well as obstetric and gynecologists, pediatricians, and family medicine physicians. Applicants must be fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria or equivalent postgraduate medical college and should not be more than 40 years of age by July 2023. Sumaya reporting for SBTV News.
The Chairman Senate Committee on Aviation, Senator Smart Adeyemi, has asked the federal government to hand over the Ajaokuta iron and steel to the Kogi state government if it cannot revive it. The senator, who lamented the inability of the federal government to expedite the completion of the steel, said the abandoned Ajaokuta steel complex had the potential of providing employment to over 50,000 Nigerians if resuscitated. Senator Adeyemi spoke on Thursday in Abuja while addressing newsmen at the public hearing on his recent bill slated for March 30th. He said it is sudden that a potential game changer for the nation's monolithic economy, which started in 1980s, is still at the stage of abandonment. He added that if the federal government is not ready to see to its completion and functionality, it should be handed over to the Kogi state, which he believed would do the needful, the way the Kaduna state government built an iron ore farm recently with potentials for thousands of job creation for the youth and quantum wealth generation for the state. He also urged the federal government to spend the current gains being made from crude oil sales at the international market, which is above $1,000 per barrel, to fix the nation's comatose oil refineries or build new ones. And on business, over to Mercy Manga.
The value of capital importation into Nigeria falls by 30.78% from $9.68 billion in 2020 to $6.7 billion in 2021, according to data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. In its Nigerian capital importation reports for the 4 quarters of 2020 and 2021, the NBS disclosed that total capital importation into the nation was $9.68 billion in 2020 and $6.7 billion in 2021. For the first and second quarters of 2021, the NBS said the total value of capital importation into Nigeria declined to $875.62 million in the second quarter of 2021 from $1.91 billion in first quarters of 2021. This represents a decrease of minus 54.06% compared to the first quarter of 2021 and minus 32.38% decrease compared to the second quarter of 2022. The largest amount of capital importation by types was received through portfolio investments, which accounted for 62.97%, which resulted to $551.37 million of total capital importation, followed by other investment, which accounted for 28.13%, which resulted to $246.27 million of total capital imported, and foreign direct investment, which accounted for 8.90%, which resulted to $77.97 million of total capital imported in the second quarter of 2021. Many thanks for watching. I am Mangal Mercy Ilya, and do have a lovely day.
And on the international scene, United States President Joe Biden will travel to a town near the Polish-Ukrainian border Friday, trying to signal Western resolve against a Russian invasion that has increasingly turned into a grinding war of attrition. Air Force One will jet into the eastern Polish town of Rizwa, bringing the U.S. president less than 80 kilometers from a war-torn nation still struggling to repel a brutal Russian invasion. The trip is designed to underscore Washington's willingness to defend NATO allies, as theorized that the one-month war in Ukraine would spill westward, sparking what the U.S. president has called World War III. The Kremlin refusal to rule out the use of nuclear weapons and a steady flow of Russian disinformation about chemical and biological weapons in Ukraine has left Kyiv and its allies fearful of an even more serious conflagration. Russia is already accused of using phosphorus bomb and indiscriminate shelling of civilian areas, something the United States has branded a war crime. Against the backdrop, Biden will meet members of the U.S. 82nd Airborne Division, part of NATO's increasingly muscular development to its eastern flank, at an emergency summit in Brussels on Thursday. NATO announced the development for further troops of Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, and Bulgaria, as well as blistering chemicals and nuclear defenses in case Russia expanded to attack beyond Ukraine. And on sports, Two African powerhouses, Ghana and Nigeria, go head-to-head in the first of their two-legged playoff ties at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, Kumasi, Friday. As the final battle for a place of the 2022 Qatar World Cup begins, two countries have endorsed a fierce rivalry since they first clashed in 1951, when Nigeria emerged winner with a 5-0 win, but that was one of the few times the Super Eagles had causes to celebrate. In the 56th game that followed, there had been 19 draws and Ghana claiming victory in 25th of the rest. The Eagles haven't recorded a win against their fierce rivals in their last 4 meetings, losing tries with 1 draw, and will hope to put an end to the winless streak, knowing that a win in Kumasi will brighten their qualification chances. They head into Friday games unbeaten in all but one of their 6 games in the World Cup qualifiers, amassing 13 points to finish top of Group 3, 2 points above runner-up Cape Verde. Austin Aguivan's side will hope to return to winning ways after suffering a shocking 1-0 defeat to Tunisia at the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon last month. Eagles captain Ahmed Musa said the rivalry is not only about football, but it is also about politics, and it is about jollof, music, acting, fashion, and everything. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a look at the major headlines. Zamfara State Social and Child Protection Bill skills second reading. President Muhammadu Buhari battles last-minute crisis, summons governorship and chairmanship aspirants. People's Democratic Party governors pick presidential forms and consult on consensus. On business, capital importation suffers 30% decline, record $6.7 billion. And on the international scene, President Biden visits Ukraine border Friday in show of solidarity. And on sports, Eagles Black Star reviews 7-1-year rivalry in Kumasi. That's the news. Thanks for watching. I'm Muhammadu Buhari. Do have a nice day.